Morning. The old man here. January 11th, 2025. What I want to talk about today is gold, silver, and the dollar. Most YouTubers, especially gold and silver guys, they always want to do a year-end prediction of what gold and silver is going to look at the end of the following year. I don't think they do anybody justice by doing that. Again, it's focusing on the price of gold and silver. It's not a good metric. They should be focused on how much the dollar is going to fall, not how much the silver and gold is going to rise. I just think it's ass backwards, and it gets a lot of people into gold and silver for the wrong reasons. And at the end of the day, when shit don't pan out exactly the way you think it's gonna, or you say it's gonna, people dump their silver and or gold, and that doesn't do anybody any justice at all. I think it's better to try and understand what the dollar is and isn't. Emphasis on isn't. Number one way to look at this, I believe, is gold and silver is money. Everything else is debt. Everything else is debt. That's all there is to it. The other thing I'd like to do is break it down a little bit. Number one, okay, so if we're thinking gold and silver is money, and I want to convert some of my dollars to gold and silver, what is the better deal of the two? I know a lot of people focus on the high price of gold and say, I can't afford it. Well, if you think you can't afford it, you're absolutely right. You can't afford it because you're not thinking outside the box. You need to think outside your box. If you could look 5 years down the line and see that in what condition the dollar is going to be in 5 years from now compared to today, you'd want all the gold and or silver you could get. Because you're going to, if you had the ability to look 5 years down the road, you would see that it'd be dismal what the dollar is going to buy, if it's even around anymore. What it's going to buy is practically nothing. A dollar is going to be what a penny is today. Okay, what does a penny buy today? Nothing. People leave the shit lay on the fucking ground. If they drop a penny, they won't even bother picking it up. Well, 5 years from now, I think the dollar is going to be the same way. It's going to take a $10 bill or a $20 bill to buy, let's say, a $20 bill to buy a candy bar, okay, 5 years from now. So realizing that, gold and silver is money, and the dollar is nothing but debt. It's somebody's debt. That's a debt note. It's fake. It's backed by nothing except for faith and confidence in the dollar. Well, faith and confidence in the dollar and all fiat currencies across the world is failing. The handwriting is on the wall. Who sees that first? The central banks. The central banks have known it's fake, has known that it is worthless. But in the past, confidence in the dollar was so strong, and or just about any other fiat currency was so strong that they didn't need gold or silver in their coffers because there was so much faith in the fiat currencies. Well, they see it, the handwriting on the wall before anybody else sees it, that the faith in the currencies is going down fast. That's why the BIS made gold tier 1 asset back in 22. I keep forgetting what freaking year they did that, but regardless, prior to that, the only tier 1 asset was U.S. bond. That was the only tier 1 asset. So they stacked bonds. Now these central banks across the world, you hear about them stacking up gold. Well, I believe a lot of them are also stacking up on silver on the sly. They just ain't gonna tell you about it. But at any rate, they're stacking up on gold and they're getting rid of the U.S. bond, the other tier 1 asset. It's not that they're against the dollar. They just realize the dollar is failing. All fiat currencies are failing. Every day that goes by, it has less and less purchasing power, although for now that might be minute amount less. But still, the dollar is losing ground so fast that, and all fiat currencies are losing ground so fast now that more and more people are going to be able to see that. Okay, take for example, I've been smoking for years, and I remember a time when I could buy a pack of cigarettes for 50 cents. Okay, then eventually when I quit, I think I was 35, 37 years old, I quit because cigarettes had gone to $2 a pack. And I'm like, oh, fuck that. I'm going to save that $2 and I'm going to buy me some property. And I took that $200 a month I was spending at $2 a pack, that $200 a month, and bought me a piece of property. Saved that $200, bought a piece of property on land contract, and bought a 20-acre piece of ground with that cigarette money. Today, pack of cigarettes cost you $10. So, has cigarettes gone up? Or has your dollar gone down? I believe the dollar, well, I know, your fiat currency is going down that much. So, over the years, that's been failing. What I'd like to get you to think about, and I think it'll help you to think about, instead of gold and silver in ounces, because the numbers are getting fairly high, especially gold, I'd like to think of them in grams. Okay, as of right now, a gram of silver spot is 97 cents a gram. And if you bought that in physical form, that's 97 cents a gram in paper contracts, okay, off the COMEX. Or the spot price is 97 cents a gram. Now, to get physical, you're going to pay a little bit of a premium over that, but right now, everybody's chasing yield in the stock market and blah, blah, blah. Wherever they're chasing yield all over the place because they think that those products are getting better and have more value. Well, they don't, and I'll get to that in a minute. So at any rate, let's think of silver and gold. A gram of gold spot price right now running 97 cents spot. And you're going to pay a small premium over that right now. So you'd be paying a little over $1 a gram. Right now, a gram of spot price on a gram of gold is $86.52 for a gram of gold. All right. That spot price, you're going to pay a little over that for, now if you buy it as a gram, you're going to pay a lot over that, probably damn near $100, because there's a decent premium when you buy gold in such small quantities. You're paying a pretty damn decent premium for that. And but let's just say the spot price is $86.52, okay? To get it physical, you're probably going to pay damn near $100 a gram to get that in your pocket. So of the two, what do you think's a better deal? Well, obviously, or at least it seems like, and that, at the very least, the silver is more affordable than gold. Okay, well, in reality, I think they're both very important. You need to, if you have none, you need to have a little bit of a base in gold, and you also have to start stacking some silver. If you think of it, again, let's think of it in grams and the price of grams. So just about $1, and just about $100 for, or closing in on $100 for a gram of gold. Well, with the gold to silver ratio being at the moment, 88.34 ounces of silver to get an ounce of gold, and gold is silver is coming out of the ground at 7-1 on gold. I would say that's a huge discrepancy. Okay, huge discrepancy. So in that case, silver is a huge buy compared to gold. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't have any gold. You should. In fact, if it was me, and if I was smart at all, I know what I'd be doing, but I'm not all that smart. I wind up buying a lot more silver because it's such a deal. As of right now, it's such a deal that I buy a lot more silver, but I do add to my gold position periodically, just knowing I got to keep up my base, and the silver is more speculative. So I keep up with that. So I try to keep up with it. I'll buy a gram of gold. Again, compared to, I like to buy ounces at a time because the premium's so much less. But for every ounce of gold I buy, I'll probably buy 200, 300, 400 ounces of silver to every ounce of gold. I just think I got to add a little bit more gold, but the silver ratio, gold to silver ratio right now, and in reality, the way things are, it's just insane. So getting back to, most guys are making predictions of silver being X, gold being this, by the end of 2025. Rather than doing that, I'd rather predict how much the dollar is going to fall in the next year. Regardless of the narrative and everything else, if you ask me, gold and silver went up together last year, and that's just obvious. You can see that. Some will say 25%, some will say as much as 30%. Give or take a couple points, gold and silver went up together last year. That is totally not the norm. Totally not the norm. When things are getting a little crazy, gold leads by a lot, and the gold to silver ratio would normally grow. And then right at the end of the bull run of gold, and I mean right at the end of the run, silver will spike. Okay, you can see that in my lifetime. That happened in the early 80s, 80, 81, something like that. Silver spiked, and it dropped like a rock. And then 2010, 2011, it spiked again. Spiked up to, what the hell was, damn near 50. I think it was like $48 or something, but let's call it damn near 50. It spiked to damn near 50, dropped like a rock. Okay, that was manipulation of the markets. And I'm not just saying the gold and silver market, it's the markets as a whole. Everything was manipulated, everything was bandaged over, made it look good. In the 2010, 2011 era, China was growing exponentially. Our economy was taking a shit because of the housing mess we had from 2008, and it more or less peaked in 2010, 2011, before they managed to kind of fix everything. And the way they managed to do that was China stepped in, bought a shitload of government bonds, okay, to basically save our economy. Why would they save our economy? What does the Chinese give a shit? Well, we are their number one customer. Okay, so if your customer fails, you fail. So they bailed our ass out, basically. And they papered over the problem by getting China to buy our debt. So it was a super spike in silver. If you didn't get rid of your silver quick and turned it into gold, you lost your ass. Especially if you bought it up around anywhere near 40 or 50 bucks. Well, anybody that's been stacking for a long time is worried about that happening again. Well, this time is different. And I know a lot of guys make fun about that. Oh, yeah, this time's different. Bullshit, it's the same as it always was. It's a cycle. Nah. Well, we're at the end of the cycle, and the cycle is fiat currency. Okay. Basically, we've had a fiat currency since 33, at least the U.S. Other governments kind of adopted the same shit about the same time, some before, some after us, but at any rate, since 33, we basically had a fiat currency system as far as the consumer is concerned. Now, we still were on a gold-based business, our gold-backed dollar, as far as countries trading back and forth. They could get paid off in gold. So in other words, a lot of countries stacked dollars, but when they realized in the 60s that we were faking the dollar, we were printing more dollars, and therefore the dollar was worth less than gold. It wasn't good as gold anymore. It was falling fast because of Vietnam. We printed a lot of money, and countries came back to get their gold. They said, "Fuck it, we don't want this dollar anymore. We want to trade it for gold." Well, when all those countries came back, some of them got their gold, but at the end of the day, Nixon had to close the gold window. Was that Nixon's fault entirely? Hell no, he wasn't there that long. It was a cumulative since 33. The problem peaked in 71. All right, so since then, we're in a pure fiat currency base. And we've all got it in our head, and I've had it too. I've just come to an awakening about a year and a half ago that the fiat dollar is coming to a head. It's coming to an end. And I know a lot of people have said that for years and years and years. Well, the fact of the matter is, it's coming to a head because the BIS made gold a tier 1 asset. They seen the handwriting on the wall. Everybody's going to wake up, not at the same time. It's going to be more and more clear as time goes by that the fiat currency is dead or dying. But this time it's across the world, the whole world. Nobody's going to bail nobody out. In fact, this dollar is going to be the shiniest turd in the punch bowl until it fails as well. We're getting warning signs all the way across the world. Everything could be considered a warning sign. I consider these wars in the Middle East and Ukraine a bit of a warning sign, okay? Was it all about money? No, but mostly about money. Okay, and it's only going to get worse in that direction. Fiat currencies across the world's failing. The Korean won had dropped here a few weeks ago by 50%. And again, what does that mean? When your currency drops by 50 cents or 50% overnight, what does that mean? Okay, that means if you were paying $3 a dozen, where in their case, let's say it was 100 won for a dozen eggs on Monday, on Tuesday, when their currency fell, that dozen eggs automatically went to $6. Okay. Well, do I think the dollar is going to fall like that overnight by 50%? No, because we've got the shiniest turd. When all these other countries' dollars are failing in pretty fast rate, investors are looking for better opportunities, and they don't see gold and silver. They see they're chasing yield, and they'll bring their currency converted to dollars and buy, let's say, stocks and bonds in the U.S. because it's the shiniest turd. It's losing value slower than everybody else, but they realize it's losing value. They know that. Okay, they're money people. They know what the deal is. So what is my prediction? My prediction is that the dollar loses 50% of its value over the course of a year, which is just slow enough that a lot of people still are going to get blindsided, even though it drops by 50%. And you think, oh my God, that's a lot. That can't happen. Well, here's the deal. What's going to happen is things that you need, in other words, groceries, gasoline, you need that to survive. The gasoline you need your daily to get to work, your gas coming in your house, your electricity. Okay, those things you need are going to increase in price significantly. Again, not that those things their value has gone up. No, the dollar will fall by 50%, therefore the price going up by 50%. Okay. Well, the same thing with gold and silver. It's not that the gold and silver is going to go up by 50%. The dollar is going to fall by 50%. So it's going to take more dollars to buy gold and silver by the end of next year. It's coming as we go. It's going to come. Last year, gold and silver went up by 25-30%. That means the dollar fell by 25-30% by the standard of what it was on January 1st. From January 1st to December, it lost 25-30% of its value. They'll argue in somewhere between 25 and 30%. Depends on who you listen to. I don't care, whatever, close enough. Either one, 25, 30, pick your poison, doesn't matter. It lost its value by 30% last year. Most people didn't even realize it. This is all throughout the food chain. When everything it readjusts, you'll find out it was 30%. Now, you might not say, well, my grocery bill didn't go up by exactly 30%. And in fact, gas is a little less expensive now than it was. Well, gas is less expensive because worldwide, we're using so much less fuel because economies are slowed down by so much. But yet, the central banks, the Fed, are covering it up. They're skewing the numbers. They don't want you to realize just how bad and what position we are in today. Over the past year, at the end of last year, they had to go back and revise the jobless numbers, or their job creation numbers, that they said that they created 1 million more jobs than they really did. Okay, well, that's huge. Well, this Friday, they come up with, well, over the holiday season, we created 225,000 jobs. I don't believe that shit. I seen no indication of people being more flush than they were the month before, or people finding jobs in the last quarter of the year that they didn't have before. I call bullshit. All right. What I've seen in the last quarter is I've had people coming to me and indirectly, directly, whatever, telling me that they've lost a job, they got laid off. Okay, and they're hoping to find something else. Well, so those numbers are bullshit. You got to read through the line, read between the lines. That's all bullshit. All them figures, it's to keeping you in the dollar system as long as they can. The strange thing about it is you'll see as the dollar loses value, the price of, let's say, the stock market go up by 50%. So everybody thinks they're rich. Well, it'll go up. I'm not saying it'll go up by 50%. It probably won't. but the numbers will go up. So if you're looking at your stock portfolio, and right now the Dow Jones is at 42,000 for the Dow Jones. Well, let's see, the dollar falls by 50%. That would mean to be equal to what it is today. The Dow Jones would have to go to 63,000. Okay. To make it look good, or well, to be even with what it is today. Okay. I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think you'll see the Dow Jones go up by, let's say, go to 50,000, from 42 to 50,000. If you look at your portfolio, you go, I'm up. I'm up. But the problem is, if you cashed out that portfolio, it bought less than it did at the beginning of the year. Okay, so let's say your portfolio goes up by 30% and the dollar falls by 50%. You've lost that 20% delta in between. But yet you seem richer than you were the year before. Like your portfolio is worth more. That's what they're calling the melt up. When they say melt up, that's exactly what they're talking about. As the dollar falls by more than the Dow Jones goes up, the delta between those two is what you've lost. Like I said, if the dollar falls by 50%, the Dow Jones goes up by 30%, you've lost that 20% delta in purchasing power. But yet you feel good. Oh my goodness, I'm still rich. No, you're not. Okay. So last year, gold and silver went up by 30%. It cost more dollars, 25 to 30% more dollars to buy gold and silver last year than it did the year before. It went up 30%. Well, to me, that means the dollar fell by 20 to 30%. Remember that gold and silver is money, and the dollar is just a representative. It doesn't mean shit. It's where we're at in this cycle. The problem is, like right now, premiums on silver is really low. And let's say you're saying, oh, you know what? The old man's right. I better get me some silver. Well, the thing is, right now, you can buy silver, let's say a gram, at a little bit over spot. But through the course of this year, let's say we have a banking crisis or something else, whatever that might be, but something that really makes people nervous, whatever that is. But I think it's going to be a banking crisis. Well, spot may go up by 50% because the dollar has fell by 50%, but premiums could raise by 100% because people want physical silver. And you go, oh no, they can't go up by 100%. Well, back in 2023, March of 23, when those banks, Silicon Bank and them banks fell, American Gold Eagles went up. The price was, let's say the spot price was around $25, but yet if you wanted American Gold Eagle, it cost you 48 to 50 bucks. So that's damn near 100 to 100% premium over top of spot. Okay, so over the course of this year, we could see spot go up by 50%, but we could see, because of an event, whatever that event is, because of an event, and everybody's saying, oh, fuck, I need physical, okay? Paper isn't going to work. The Dow Jones isn't going to work. The dollar in my hand isn't going to work. I need physical gold or I need physical silver. Well, the premiums are going to go up. The premiums could go up by 50 to 100%, depending on how big the event is. You go 10, 12 banks go down instead of 3, I can guarantee you silver is going to cost you 100% premium. So spot might be at, let's say the dollar falls by dollar falls by, and right now we're at about $30. Let's say $30 silver. It's actually $30.50 silver. Well, let's call it 30 just for easy math. And by the end of the year, the dollar falls by 50%. That puts silver at $45. Well, let's say there's a 100% premium on that. You're at 90 to buy a fucking eagle. Okay? And right now you can buy an eagle at, let's call it 35. You can probably buy them cheaper than that, but let's call it 35. So you can buy an eagle right now for 35, and by the end of the year, with premiums, you could be paying $90. Okay? I think now is a good time to start. If you haven't already done it, start stacking silver. Get you some gold too. If you say I can't afford it, well, you ain't thinking outside the box. You got to start thinking outside the box. And if you knew where this was all going to end, and honestly I don't, but I know where it's going, in the direction it's heading, and there's no reversing the ship this time, because it's failing. Fiat is failing across the world, so there's nobody coming to save your ass. Okay, we'll be the last ones to see it. Okay, or it'll hit us the hardest last. We're all going to feel it across the world. Doesn't matter what it is. We're all going to feel it. But we're going to see all the warning signs. If our eyes are open and we pay attention to the world markets and what they're doing, we're going to see them all fail first, in different degrees. But at the end of the day, whether that takes 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, we're all going to wind up in the same spot. Gold and silver is going to be it, and fiat currency is going to be gone. Like I said, right now, a person won't even bend over to pick up a penny. It has that little value today. Okay, in fact, I've seen people walk over nickels and dimes. It has that little value today. In the future, a dollar bill laying on the ground will have the same purchasing power as a penny does today. Okay? And people are going to be walking over and past that shit because it ain't worth picking up. I hope that put this into perspective for you. I'm not telling you to run out and run your credit cards up and whatever else. To buy gold and buy silver. I'm not talking about speculating on either one of them. I'm saying if you got shit you don't need and it's just laying around, sell it now while it still has value, some value, even though you're taking a loss. You may think you're taking a loss. Sell it now, because there'll be the day. The only thing people want is going to be food, shelter, heat, and electricity. That's all they're going to want. They're not going to care about anything else. And they'll do whatever they can to get it. Okay? So if you can turn that into gold and silver today, if you got something laying around that doesn't have a lot of, you don't have any use for it anymore, and you can get something out of it, sell it now, even at what seems to be a loss, and buy gold and silver. Especially silver, with its, like I said, 88.34 ounces of silver to buy an ounce of gold, and it's coming out of the ground at 1 to 7, that's a no-brainer. You still need to have some gold, but the majority of the investment should be silver. It's just crazy right now. I'll elaborate more on my feelings and what's going on in the world with silver and why I think silver is beyond the ratio, it's such a bargain right now, it's ridiculous. All right. You guys have a great one. I appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, share, and especially leave a comment. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. Don't think I don't want to look stupid. The fact of the matter is there's a lot of good questions out there. You're basically anonymous anyways. Feel free to ask those questions And you'll be surprised how many other people out there are thinking the same thing. What the hell are you talking about? And if there are questions, and I'm hoping there will be, I'll give clarity on those questions. Help make this whole thing make sense. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good day. Bye.